In the beginning, it was bodybuilding, and then followed the fitness division. And this next division coming up, the figure division, changed the industry for the women. The energy that the women in figure brought to the IFBB Pro League, women around the world desired to have what they have and what they brought. Muscularity, conditioning, shape,
grace,
sexy, grace, walking in those heels and looking fabulous.
Oh my God.
And today we have 2 IFBB Pro figure champions, and among the 2, they have been on the world stage, the Olympia, a total of 10 times. So we have the best here. Please welcome Wendy Fortino and Jessica Reyes Padilla.
Hi.
Thank you, ladies. Welcome.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, but it's so true. It's so true. You know, you guys, I mean, how do you feel about that? Just knowing that, because I got the opportunity to be here when it was just women bodybuilders and watch fitness come on the scene. And, you know, all the women, they couldn't maybe not desire to be as large as a female bodybuilder or could not perform the stunts. And I remember when figure came on the scene, it just expanded and our numbers increased. So, so you play a major role in the history of what we do. So how do you feel about that? You ever think about it like that?
So I started competing in 2008. What year did you start competing?
2014.
Okay, so maybe I'll start and then we'll pass the baton. But for me in 2008, I remember that I was nursing an injury from track, and I was just looking for something that could get my mind off of being sad and depressed about my injury. And when I discovered the sport, the first thing that I saw was, you know, Monica Brand. I got her DVD, The Secret of Beauty. And that's actually how I learned how to pose and everything. And when I saw her, I was like, that's what I want to look like, you know? And so my original thing, I wanted to do fitness, you know? But I realized that my body was not, I did compete in fitness, but you know, it's really hard on your body, and figure I actually did really well. And so it was really cool because I loved that, you know, I was able to embrace, I've been muscular my whole life, and I was like bullied about it, and I was teased about it. And here's something, and I'm a very girly girl. So it's like, here was something that I could be like beautiful, glamorous, muscular, like embrace who I am.
Everything in one.
Yeah, it was exactly me. It was like totally me, like everything about it. And the rest, you know, was history. It was really awesome to be a part of something, I guess kind of early on, because it started, that division started in 2003. So 2008, I was kind of towards the beginning of the introduction of that division.
Right. So your first year competing in figure was 2011?
2008.
2008. Wow.
Yeah. I won the overall at the USA in 2011 to get my pro card.
I got it.
Yeah.
Yes. And what about you, Jessica?
Yes,
he's passed the baton.
Well, for me, when I first started, it was in 2014. So it was when actually it was Larissa Reyes and Nicole Wilkins on stage, and actually it was Nicole Wilkins, like the champion, and Eric Stern. It was still like figure in that moment. So when I first started this, it was kind of like familiar with you because it was when my dad passed away. Yeah. So I always like to say this because it was a really hard moment for me, and I want something to escape and not think about what happened. I have a lot of emotions inside of me, frustration, anger, and I really need someone to manage all those feelings that I had inside of me. So I decided to go to the gym and I just put it on the weights. I used to be a model.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you used to be a
that was
model.
my background, so I weigh like 115 pounds.
How long did they still have you walking on the runway with all that muscle?
Oh my God! Well, I wasn't like this. It was like really, really skinny. Like by that time, I was like doing like music videos. I used to do stunts, double stunts for movies. Actually, I did stunt double for Zoe Saldana, Mia, and Fast Five. So I used to do like different kind of things because if you see these Hollywood girls, like they're like really, really skinny. Like right now, they look like Victoria's Secret.
Well, that's why you move so elegantly on stage. I always look at the figure and how
helping me honestly a lot to have that background. And when I started this, I fall in love with it. It was something that I'm like doing it like in 100%. I love everything about it. Like the opportunity that you got to actually improve your body, to be in charge of your own body and just decide how you want your body to look because it's on you. And there are like some people that they don't understand what we do, and they said that we have like a lot of muscles, but honestly there's people that think that, oh, if I'm gonna go to the gym, like I'm gonna like look like that. I'm like, girl, it's gonna take
you don't just look at weights and all this.
Exactly. So my first show was the Tim Garner Extravaganza in 2014 in Tampa. I decided like to do that show. I didn't know that it was like a huge show.
Oh yeah, it's a big one.
Yes, a big one for the first time to do an NPC show because I'm from Puerto Rico, so we didn't have those shows way before I started. Right now, thanks to Tim Garner, like we have NPC shows and pro shows in Puerto Rico.
Florida is such a huge state, though. It's so very competitive. So I don't know if there are many shows that are not big.
Oh my God, yeah, it was huge. It was my first NPC show, and just in my class, we were 33.
Okay.
In total,
just in your class,
like more than 100 figure girls competing that year.
You know what's interesting is I wonder how much of that collided with the uptick in social media, because like 2014 was right around when social media, like Instagram, started really popping, and now it's like, because when I first started competing, like the idea of like a muscular woman, like I would walk into a gym and I'd be training for a show, and I mean back then not a lot of people were competing, so people would be like, what do you do, you know? And a few years later, people are like, oh, do you compete? And so there weren't a lot of, aside from Lenda Murray and Monica Brandt, you know, there weren't really those, you know, those examples of like strong, muscular,
so when people
beautiful.
see you guys and you're in the grocery store and your arms are out, like, do they say, are you a bodybuilder? What did they, because they don't know, like when I try to make the distinction between figure and fitness, no, I'm a, you know, and I've noticed that like all the women across the board, we've kind of become, you guys have become comfortable with somebody saying you're a bodybuilder. You're like, because before it was like, oh,
I know, that is so true. I remember I was so like, no, you're a bodybuilder. But
well, they're bodybuilders.
I'm proud to say
they're bodybuilders.
And like honestly, like people
I'm
like
proud to say
yes,
I'm proud.
thank you.
I mean, because they notice the hard work that we put on the gym. And even like people sometimes they don't even ask you, they know, and they like just like talk behind your back, and they're like, yes, like she's a bodybuilder. She must be a bodybuilder.
Well, it's true that we are building our body, and honestly, for somebody who's outside the industry, they don't know the divisions and the classifications and the levels. That is something for somebody who's initiated in the industry and in the divisions, right? To know. So yes, you are bodybuilders.
It's such a huge umbrella. So I think, and people who didn't really know much about the sport before, now they're being exposed to it on social media.
You are right. Social media did a lot.
It has done. So, I mean, I can't even say enough about how much I've seen just going through the sport for the last 14 years.
Okay.
The progression of the acceptance of muscularity and like women who are like muscular and beautiful and strong. I mean, I have in my generational span of 14 years, I've seen so much evolution just from them.
And even like a lot of bikinis that they have been crossover like to figure because they want to like look with more muscles and that got
wellness.
that muscle maturity.
You said some of the women from bikini are crossing over to figure,
and way before like wellness, it was we have wellness.
That's
but
right.
they were like crossing from bikini to figure, and some figures to woman's physique.
Well, especially the girls that have a little bigger, wider frame, within a year or two of lifting, they're going to fill out that frame, and automatically they're going to belong to the figure division. But I'm really curious to know, Wendy, first you, what was the part that you had and you still have, let's say, worked the most to complete your physique? What do you think that spot is?
For me, when I started out, I was a track athlete and a gymnast, so I had really developed obliques. Like my waist, I think naturally is kind of smaller, but my obliques were super developed from all the running and trunk rotation, and my traps were really developed from gymnastics. So I was kind of out of balance in that way, and so I worked a lot, and I still am, to try to bring down, like atrophy my obliques to get my waist to look small, because I'm short. I'm only 5 feet tall, and my torso is really short. Like my rib to hip is like this much space, and so every
you will see it when we stand up together.
Much taller than 5 feet.
We are definitely like, and that's, you know what was really cool about me and Jessica is that we have completely different looks, completely different bodies. Yeah, we're both muscular. We both have, like, I guess the essence of like the figure, like the, you know, there's like this like glamorous kind of like muscularity that we both kind of we both capture that, but we have totally different muscular bodies. And I think that's what's really cool about figure is that there isn't really like a distinctive body type. There's so many different body types that do well in figure. It's all about creating that X frame shape.
Absolutely.
I agree with it, and it's like that is why I tell like many people that they follow us and they're looking forward like to look exactly as specific person, but it's like, no, you need to bring your best, your own like the best version of yourself, because we have different type of bodies, we have different genes. What is my strength probably is your weakness, and whatever is my weakness probably is your strength. So you need to be focused and get whatever like you like from other athletes that they're like inspiring you and motivating you like to do what you're doing. But at the end of the day, you need to bring the best version of yourself, and that is what I tell everybody, because we are like so different, and we know like the basic like for figure that has like wide back, round shoulders, like.
How about you, Jessica? Talking about the frame, what is the spot that you had to work on?
Well, I used to do track and fields too.
I saw.
You have a long torso, so
most of the figures they have like that background.
Yeah, it's true.
And
I did track and field too. Bodybuilder.
You see,
it really,
it really improves like your legs, and you have like that athletic that is not gonna go away from you. So I think that coming from being a model, I was really skinny, so I got my legs for the track and field, but I was like really skinny. So my first show, honestly, I had like 97 pounds of muscle mass. Wow. And I weigh 117 on stage.
Wow.
So, I mean, right now, like my last show, I was 138, 139, 5'7".
Oh my goodness.
So, yes. So I have been improving with the years. I think that what it helps me to work on my body is like the feedback that the judges give me every time that I do a show. So I always like try like to get that feedback, and whatever they tell me that I need to improve, that's what I work on. Because I mean, you need to keep your symmetry, so you need to look completely balanced. So it's not just about adding
like
muscle.
Adding muscle,
it's like a specific which area you need to improve, so you will keep like looking aesthetic and have that frame and just look beautiful.
Even where you put them, right? Because if let's say if there's a glutes, then you need the glutes on top. You don't need it on the side. You don't want it wide. You don't want it. So that's
because it's like people
detail
don't
work.
realize that sometimes it's like whatever like you improve. If you get your back wider, then you need to keep up your lower body too, like to look symmetrical. So it's not just about working on getting your back wider. It's gonna take also hamstrings, glutes, so you look completely symmetrical.
Well, you know what? We're gonna take a quick break and come back with Jessica and Wendy, and we're gonna pick up to find out like more of the specifics on how do you make those improvements and ready for the Olympia. And we'll be back.
People always ask how I got here. I was willing to work just a little harder than everyone else, every damn day. If I can have hundreds of hours back, you know I'm gonna grab them. Spending hours prepping chicken, rice, and vegetables? F that. I rely on perfect nutrition. I rely on Trifecta.
And we're back with Jessica and Wendy, and we left off of the topic of the improvements and how to go about that, and talking to the judges, and you know.
Yeah, and so it's something interesting. You and I had talked about this before, but you were saying that when you first started, you just had bodybuilding. That was all that you had available.
Yes.
And I think you said that if you had the choice, you would have chosen figure.
Yes.
Which is interesting.
Yes. Well, I absolutely adore figure.
Yeah.
You know, I really do. But the reality of it, my quads and my structure.
Oh gosh,
I had already too much.
So much amazing muscle there.
Yeah.
It would have been a shame. But I am wondering what I would have chosen, because in 2008 there was just bodybuilding, fitness, figure, and so Sandy has told me, yeah, you know, back when you first started, you know, the wellness division would have been perfect for you, because they always told me that my lower body was really like, you know, like standing out, and which is interesting because I spent so much time trying to avoid overtraining them that now like my glutes aren't popping like I want them to, and so actually now I have to go back and, you know, rewrite my whole situation, because it's like it's an ongoing process. You know, when you're trying to improve something, you may need to grow your arms a little bit. However, if you work on your arms, if you haven't, you know, developed your shoulders very well, your arms could dominate your shoulders. So
taken away from the shoulder.
So when
you're
you're talking about all these things, because we started about the body, do you work with a coach to make a strategy for this, or do you decide it each for your own?
Good question.
Well,
Jessica.
I got my coach, Andrew Vu. He's amazing. So since my first Olympia that I placed fourth, I have been with him. So it's been like a really good journey, a lot of like journey. Yeah, he knows my body like from head to toe. Like he knows everything about my body, how my body react depends of everything. So we have been like changing on the nutrition plan, like different things like fats, like sugar, like carbs as our energy source. And my body react good with everything. So he's the one who is in charge of my nutrition plan, but I'm the one who do the workout plans, and that depends if I need something specific to improve. I send him whatever I'm doing, and if he needs to change something, then he will change it. But I mean, I'm being in charge of my workout plan.
Yeah, major changes this year. But let's go to talk to Wendy, and then we'll go back to your.
I have been working with my husband actually since I first started, and when I did my first show, we had only been dating for a month.
Oh wow!
So
that was a lot of trust you put in him.
I put a lot of trust in him. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just doing something for fun. In my mind, I was just going to do a show, and then I was going to nurse my injury, and I was going to go back to track, because I wasn't really like taking it seriously. I didn't follow my diet perfectly, but I did it. I did win the overall. And that was like just enough of a little carrot to go, you know what, maybe this is my thing. Like I keep getting injured in this track thing, and like this, I'm, you know, and then like the rest was history. But
looks like there was the right thought.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny because like people have said, oh, you know, like wouldn't it be good for you to get a coach that, you know, isn't your husband, because like how do you guys, I know people have trouble working with their significant other, but honestly,
I really want to know that. How you like honestly, because
I'm going to be honest.
It's hard.
Yeah, I'm going to be totally honest. I'm going to become 100% honest that I think it's not for everyone, but our dynamic is so unique. We just never argue, we never fight, and it's not the case for every relationship I've ever had. So it's not for everyone.
Yeah, because having like your husband as a coach is like really, really hard. And it's because sometimes we just don't want to listen. We don't. Right. We don't change the switch.
I am very stubborn. I am very. But he'll let me. So it's kind of like a parent. Like, you know, he doesn't tell me. You know, he'll tell me not to touch the stove because it's hot. But then he'll watch me touch it. You know, I told you it was hot. If I'm like stubborn about something, he'll be like, okay. And then of course he was right. And then he's like, well, you know. And that's kind of how we deal with it. And I'm like, yeah, and I admit it. Yeah, you were right. And then we move on, and I change it to what he said.
Absolutely.
So,
well, in my case, I have my husband as my partner, like on the training section. He doesn't coach me, but we help each other. And I think that training with him make me like improve a lot too, because of course he's a guy.
Yeah.
And when you have this, you know, pride, and also you want to like get better, you want to like keep it up with them. So I always have been training with guys.
Okay.
And I think that that's one of the things that have been like helping me to improve a lot more. Like whenever they told me that I need to get my back wider or my legs, I never have no problem with my quads though, because they always have been telling me like, oh no, your quads, like I'm quad dominated, so I'm always being focused on the back, hamstrings, and
glutes. Because I watched the interview that Alina and you did, and you talked about improving. This was after your win in the Bahamas for the Puerto Rico, and you were going into the Olympia, and you said that you talked to the judges, and someone suggested that you need to make improvement in your back development, and you were able successfully, obviously, to do that.
But talking about body parts, I have a question. Like whenever you look at the figure girls on stage and on their high heels, there is obviously a big emphasis on the abs, right? Yes. You always look like the abs got to be there, the shoulders, the abs, the quads, right? But how do you train abs without thickening your waist, right?
That's a good question.
So what
question.
That is like, I think, one of the delicate questions and the delicate items, things that you can approach.
Well, for me, it's all about like I avoid any side bend or twisting movements. I see people do the side bend stuff all the time, or the wood chop stuff. That's like great for people who do like performance-based sports, like functional type training is great, because for track I needed thick obliques because it made me run faster. Like that muscle group helped me be more powerful, but the muscle groups that make you more powerful aren't necessarily great for aesthetics. So no like side bend, twisting. Mostly just the rectus abdominis, just like crunching up and down, like rope crunches, leg ups, just trying to stay in that like rectus abdominis.
Wow, very well said.
Yeah. Yes. So, and then I imagine no compound movement, right? Like no real deadlifts or heavy squats, right? Free squats.
Deadlifts are great. Like for me, I avoid deadlifts from the ground, where I have to really recruit those obliques, those muscles that get thick. There are some girls who don't have a problem doing deadlifts from the ground because their hip bones are like just built like this wide, and then they could do they can't even build their waist like wide. I think Nadia Wyatt I've seen her do like hardcore deadlifts.
She's a power lifter.
I didn't realize she could lift that much weight,
and her waist is so tiny, but it's because her hips are this wide and there's no growing beyond that. They're just that. So it's some people can really so not one size fits all. If somebody can do deadlifts from the ground and not build a thick waist, you can say, see, it doesn't build a thick waist, because you are recruiting those muscles.
Well, in my case, that happened to me. Like I still do deadlifts, everything to improve, like whatever I need to improve. So I haven't stopped not doing some specific exercises because of my waist. And even though I have been with the years,
you have those tiny, working, you have that tiny set
also my
hips.
waist, and my waist is getting smaller with the time. And I think that is because what you said also, my hips, they're I don't have no hips.
You have really tiny, and then you're growing your muscle around it, and it's just it's like some people are just unable to get a big waist, but I'm at 5 feet tall with a short torso. It's like everyone has to work around with their...
I'm curious about you, Wendy, because you went through that phase when Nicole Wilkins, before she got shredded, she was the image, right? She was the iconic for the division, and now all the way where we are here, where I see a lot of even striations sometimes. If the girls are not careful, you're gonna see the striations and feathers. So there is such a big difference between those two ages. So how did you transition through this, and how did you navigate competing learning through these two images?
Right.
That is like the best question, I'm telling you, because I keep talking about how I have been a part of multiple eras.
Yes, you have.
It's like kind of insane, and I'm still kicking. No.
Yes, you are.
It's really crazy though, because sometimes it's hard for me to like navigate the fact that things have changed so much. I mean, I remember I was on a phone call with Sandy in 2015, and she specifically she said, Wendy, I don't want to see any separation in the quads, no separation. Like that's the she was really like, because I had like a little separation, and she was and then now it's like that's like one of the criteria. I think it is.
Yes,
I think it's you need to have like the deep separation, but not striation or feathers on the quads. But you still could see that on figure.
Yeah, but if you look at photos and video of the figure girls back in like, and I'm going to go only back to like 2015. We can go back further, but if you look at the girls in 2015, you'll see the front of their quads. There's literally no separation. Like the showdown between like Kamala Rodriguez and Latoria Watts, the two of them doing a duel off. You look at them in their front pose, and there's like no separation.
Yeah, I was checking that out.
The muscles, but not like deep separations in anything.
So I'm like,
I think it's pretty much like
trying to catch up.
It's like what wellness looks like, right? Like just roundness and just a little bit of trace of a separation on the front quads, right?
I think they're evolving very quickly though, because the girls are really like, they're so good. They're so like, so many girls came to the front that were so gifted. Like I think there was like the Euryshna and Angela, right? I'm saying that. Those two are nuts. And then there's the Sunny Andrews, and there's the girls that are just they already pushed the envelope to this insane physique. So that's what girls are like trying to attain. And with social media, everything happens like yesterday.
Quickly.
Yeah, one of the things that we don't know, like for now, like we know that that's the type, because it's like the first year of wellness probably would change, like have been like all the categories changing.
That's right.
Because like how what you were saying about figure, like if you see an Aaron Stern, you see Nicole Wilkins or Larissa Reyes, I mean, even like the woman's physique in that time, they didn't look as the figure looks right now.
It's nuts.
And when you look at that Dana-Lynn Bailey, all that Juliana Maracarne, like when you look at them, like honestly, you could see girls at the Olympia looking with more condition than them.
I think it helps me though, because like taking so much time to build muscle has allowed me to do it like slowly and like just like do it without like any extreme measures, you know. Like if I wanted to achieve like the muscularity I am right now in like that has taken me like 14 years to acquire, if I try to do that in like a year, which is what people are trying to do, it would be, you know, with that like, you know, anything like do anything it takes kind of mentality.
Nothing healthy.
It's really,
let's put it that way.
And
it's hard. It's
hard.
And
that's where I learned, like with social media, how social media has changed, like the industry and the women that are there, like because they look at you guys and then they say, "I want to be pro tomorrow and I want to be famous tomorrow." Like I didn't understand. Somebody tried to explain to me that was like the goal, like to get followers, and I want to be pro tomorrow, so I'm going to go out. And I'm going to follow you. And I'm like, really? Like, they think you can do this, like, overnight?
We're still working our asses off for that.
Yeah, they think that it's really easy, and it's not. And they realize it when they do, like, the first show. I mean, they go to an NPC show, and probably they win. But I think that when they go to a national show, like, it's completely different now. Because I remember that my first national show was Pittsburgh, and I have like too much condition. So from that moment, they start calling me in Puerto Rico like too much condition. And I didn't place that first national show because I was too lean. And then I went next year to the Junior Nationals in Chicago 2015, and I got my pro card there. But I asked the judges, well, you're looking in my category, because I didn't want to make those same mistake. We are looking for a full round shape. So I start like eating, because I was like pretty lean again. So I started eating burger, fries, a lot of ketchup.
Is that the photo that you posted on your social media?
Yes.
After?
Yes.
You know, I love that picture because you were almost doing the same thing with your arm and your leg, and it was like the pose had evolved like just so subtly, but it was so much better at the same time. That was a really awesome.
Yeah. So I earned my pro card in Junior Nationals Chicago 2015 in my worst condition ever. But that's what they wanted. That's what they wanted.
I was there. You look great today. But you know what, guys? We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back because I love this conversation we're having with Jessica and Wendy. We will be back. Back with Jessica and Wendy, and we were just talking about comparisons, and gosh, there's so much for us to talk about. I'm glad we have this opportunity
yes.
for people to, like the women especially hear that you guys, it's really like you have to be comfortable in your own skin. You walk your walk. You're not trying to do what Jessica's doing, and Jessica, you're not trying to do what Wendy's doing. So let's kind of talk about that, because I think people in the gym, just the ones in the gym that don't compete, they compare themselves to other women in the gym. And, you know, you guys, our job is about comparison. Well, so how do you get through that, and how do you do that?
Well, the thing is that the cool thing is that every single person has something that is so unique about them, and that's what you want to try to find, you know? Like, we all have something that makes us stand out, and that's like the beauty of, like, if you go on social media, you see so many people that otherwise would not have a platform, and that's the positives that comes from social media. You know, it gives people the platform to build their own brand, because you were in the era where it was a bottleneck, you know? I mean, people, you were chosen or you weren't chosen, which, you know, you only had like a couple of people really to follow if you were, you know, interested in the sport. But now there are so many different people with so many different platforms that if somebody had like a unique, you know, something, they can go and turn to somebody that they can relate to or link up with, or someone that draws out their inspiration, and that's what's really cool. But at the end of the day, we all have something that makes us like stand out. And you know, regardless of whether you think you found that thing, I mean, as we evolve, we're continuing to try to find like more things that make us stand out, because that's what competition does, you know?
Well, I tell you about the stuff that stands out. I think that genetics is one of the most important things. And I think out of all divisions, probably figure is the one that relies the most on genetics, or that matters the most, right? Because you're just being judged from the front and the back, and there's the X-frame, and that's it, right? I mean, like, you can't cheat that.
I always say that.
Right?
Can't cheat.
So what you are coaches too, right? So what happens like when you get an athlete, let's say that has a waist is a little bit too thick, right? And then you know she might not be successful just because of that aspect, and everything is great. So what choices do you have then?
I mean, that is why, like, I'm glad that right now we got like different categories. So you have to be completely honest, like with the person. It all depends the goals that person has, because there's some of them that they just want to have like an experience of competing, but there's some of them that they want to do really well on the bodybuilding industry. So it's like when you like known like by seeing them training and how much they improve, like you will know specific weight category which fit for them, because sometimes, like, to be honest, like they want to do like a specific category that I don't see them like I don't see them competing. So you need to be honest with that person too.
Yeah, and along the lines of what you're saying, I always tell people that, because like it's a two-way street, right? So I always tell people that your commitment and expectation has to match. So if your expectation is up here, like you want to turn pro, you want to, you know, whatever it is that you want to do. If your commitment is down here, if you have like a laundry list of things, I won't do this, I won't do this, I won't do this, you know, then, you know, we got to lower your expectation.
Exactly.
It's like, here's what you want, and here's what you have to do. Oh, you're not willing to do that? Okay, well then let's drop the expectation.
I love it.
Drop the expectation. Like, that's the thing, you know. So if somebody comes to me and they have, like, let's say a background like me where they have really developed obliques, it's going to take some work. You got to, like, you know, you got to cinch in your waist with a weight belt every single workout, maybe even during cardio. We got to atrophy the obliques. If you're willing to commit to what it's going to take, then we're going to get your waist down. If that's not something you're willing to do, then your waist won't come down.
I had a female, professional female. She's IFBB pro in women's physique, and when they came along with wellness, she said to me, because I think she started out in figure, then she went to women's physique, and then she decided she was going to go to wellness. And I looked at her and I thought to myself, like, so are you really, do you have that flavor? Because I've seen her on stage many times. I don't see that flavor. I don't need to have that flavor. You got to. You got to. And
I like that word.
Yes, totally. And you know it's the truth. And it's just, it is
that's
what it is.
That's something that is part of your presentation on stage. And most people, like, when they ask me for advices or I'm coaching someone from posing, like when I start from the walk. And I'm like, you need to realize how important is the walk, because if you don't keep the attention of the judges from the first step that you made on that stage, they're not gonna keep up with you. So it's not just about like doing the mandatory, poses. It's about everything, because they will feel like the confidence that you have since the first step that you make on that stage.
I watch you guys, like, one of my questions, in heels, like, because I know what it's like to be barefoot and try to do a pose.
That's all I
so
know.
how do you guys, like, when you first had to, like, really, like, flex, because you're flexing the whole time, people don't realize, you make it look easy. So explain that to me, because I'm sure. What's the toughest one for you?
I would say that.
I think that is back.
What was that?
Back.
Back what?
Like
when you're doing the back, when you turn to the
that's what
the most hardest in heels.
Oh, that is, I would say, when you're turning, like anytime like you turn away from the judges, like for me, I just really try to take my time, because that, along the lines of what you were saying, when you know the judges that have their eyes on you the whole time, what I notice is people they'll do their wave, and then it's like they turn off, like as if there's a light switch and like no eyes are on them anymore, and they just like wave, and then they walk away, and that, you know, you're still communicating with them. It's like I know you're still watching, and you gotta like keep going keep with going, that same.
And if it, like people
flavor.
that they get on stage just like walking normal, and then they turn their switch when they're gonna do the mandatory.
Like switch on and off. No, you don't have an on and off switch.
Since the first step that you made, you need to make that click with the judges.
I have a technical question for you girls. I want to know, when you walk on heels. I've never been on heels, obviously. What is the difference?
Not posing, but
not posing, not on stage. When you walk, what kind of surface? How does it relate to the way you step to the shoes? Right? Is it carpet? Is it rubber? What are the differences between that? Like you go to a show, oh my God, it's rubber, and I heard people, I hate this.
It's
so
harder.
what
the rubber is harder.
What is the optimal one to step on while on stage to control?
Well, to control, carpet is definitely better if you want to get people to slow down and take their time.
Okay.
So if I have like a client who is like spastic and just doesn't want to like calm down, then I will like say to practice on a carpet, not like a fluffy carpet like this, but because you really have to take your time with your turns.
Because that is the most slippery, right? So that is the one the most prone to accidents.
I practice in both.
Okay.
Just to make sure.
And the national stage and the Olympia stage are carpeted, and so you know I always say if you can do it on carpet, you can do it on anything. Because if you practice on carpet, then you're pretty much well versed, and you know you got to practice on everything. You know you got to be ready for anything.
So the Olympia is carpet. Is that what you're saying? It is.
I'm pretty sure it has been most of the time. I'm pretty sure it is.
It is.
I
know I've been on Olympia stage, but that was like way back. I'm like,
I remember there were times when I competed, I was like wood, you know, like was just like regular.
Yeah.
And I even remember like on bare feet, you know, like I was like certain moves that I had in my routines going on my knees and pulling back were harder.
Yeah.
So then of course that as you have
Did
to
you get
walk.
Splinters?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you have to
Sometimes they
walk,
got, like,
it's hard.
like both, because when you start, like they have like this like carpet, and then it's when you're walking to the square, there's like no carpet.
They like to throw curveballs at you. Or I always say, like, be careful if there's like a random piece of tape, like don't step on it because there's probably a hole underneath it.
Oh yeah.
Well,
But yeah, like I assure you that the promoters don't want to throw curveballs at you.
No, yeah, because I know that's one of the things that when
Yeah.
I go to the stage and I'm looking, you know how they put them together like a puzzle?
Yeah.
And then it's not even, and I think, right there,
Yeah.
dude, like you got to get that right there.
Yeah.
Like, because I think about you guys, and I think about you even from a point of like back when with us with the oil, and then we get on the floor.
That's what I mean.
yeah,
Like,
that's
and I was
another
like,
thing.
make sure you get that up.
Because carpet is probably safer
that.
from
Yeah.
this
Yeah, it
perspective,
is.
because if you have somebody doing the routine and then the figure division comes, you're going to slide all over the place with your heels.
And I'm really excited about this year, and now that the Olympia is going to be in December, it's the weekend of my birthday.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
I mean, I just like hope like to have like two things to celebrate. And
So how many
That's it.
shows have you won so far in what? Okay, you won. I don't know if it was like the end of 2021. Okay, since the Olympia, how many shows have you won? Because you were on a rampage.
well, last year I did 7 shows. I won like the 6 of them, and then I got
She's
4
got
at the
11
Olympia.
at least.
Yeah, so I have been winning in total 15 pro shows. So I think that makes me become like the figure with most pro wins.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I knew that there was.
How about you?
some-
Knew it was what you did
Right?
last year.
Okay.
So I've won 2 pro shows in my
Okay.
career. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah. I don't, but you know what? What's more, I mean, you've been on that Olympia stage 4 times. You've been competing
5.
5. Yeah.
5 times.
Yeah.
Huge, honey.
This is my 7th.
What you had to do to
this
get
year.
there, you know. So this is your 7th and 5th. Okay.
Yeah, I am really excited. It's really cool to be able to say that, you know, I've been on the stage 5 times, but I've yet to, you know, really execute on that day. And that's always been my struggle, you know, just ever since I was a, you know, athlete my whole life. I feel like I always, like, whenever I get to like the top level, something, I don't know, that's my mental obstacle that I'm still, you know,
You need to work on it.
working on it.
I think that that's pretty like normal. It's a huge stage. It's the most prestige show. So I think that it's like normal, like to feel like kind of like nervous, but don't let that that nervous like.
I know. It's like I've been on it enough times that I need to like just let it go. Like it's time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like it's like normal. Just don't let like that fear that you feel sometimes just to be more than your will, like to do better. It is hard. And one of the things that like the past year have been like helping me, and I think that I have been doing so great since 2019. Is like I give up on myself. Like I give up on myself, and I said, God, be in charge. Be in charge. You know what is better for me. I know that you're gonna give me the confidence on stage. Just make me feel like you are with me in every single step that I made on that stage, and that have been working for me. And I started like doing really good. 2019, I won like 4 shows. One of them was the Arnold Australia, and I mean, he amazed me all the time when you let him be in charge of your life. Because one of the things that you need to realize is that he's going to be with you no matter what, and that he's going to open the doors for you, like in whatever place you are. And he's going to take that and make something a lot better for you. And when I don't place or I don't win a show, I'm like, I know that you got something better for me because you promised me. And if I don't win, it's because it wasn't my time. But I know that whatever I get is because of you. And if it comes from you, it's always going to be good.
I know.
It made me cry.
I know, it's very emotional. Right.
And it's like I sent you like a picture with my mom.
Yes.
And that show for me was the most important one because I never had the chance to have my mom with me.
Wow.
And I always have been like competing out of Puerto Rico. And that year, I mean, was amazing because I got my son and I got my mom.
Remember that one?
And I got a picture of like Lenda
We're all crying.
holding my mom, and like for me was like so special. And I tell Linda, like, you have been inspiring me so much, even though like you start as bodybuilder and I'm figure.
Yes.
But seeing her with my mom that day, it was like, this is a really special woman right here. So it's not about, you're not inspiring people or females just in the bodybuilding industry, but just because the kind of person that you are.
Yes.
Because you're a really genuine person, very humble, and you give to others, and that just make you the greatest.
Thank you.
We were talking about that off camera, but Lenda somehow has this ability to follow everybody, and she knows everybody. She just so subtly told Jessica, "Oh yeah, I saw you win your pro card in 2014."
Yes.
And I mean, you know everything, and you're just so involved. It's both of you. So both of you are so
our hearts with you
such
guys, and
leaders.
We sit in the audience and we watch, and sometimes it's hard because, we know how hard you work. And, when they start doing first call out and second call out, and you can kind of see where things are going.
I have been seeing Linda mad.
Yeah.
coming to me backstage.
Like, what's that?
I know.
Yeah.
I have to tell Linda, her heart's broken from me. I'm like, it's okay, Linda, it's okay.
We're going to keep going. You will see. Yes. That happened to me in Arizona, actually, and you were mad, and you were like, but I know that next week you're going to do better at the Olympia. Because I did the warm-up show and I didn't place. I placed third, I think. That it was like, she thought that I deserved better.
Yeah, well, ladies, we have to wrap it up. And I tell you, this has definitely been the best Femme Flex Friday episode for me.
We feel like really happy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your
good
knowledge.
luck, and I look forward to seeing you on the Olympia stage.
Yes, you're going to see me before that.
That's it. Good luck. Yes. All right, guys, for another awesome episode of Femme Flex Friday.